Welcome everyone to the very first tutorial on Lambda expressions. In this series of tutorials, I'm going to cover everything about it. Well, first start with the basics and then I will gradually walk you through all advanced concepts in detail. So let's begin. Guys, Lambda expression as a concept was introduced in Java 1.8 version, and since then it has kind of become the first choice of developers all over the world while they write code in Java programming language. So what's so special about this concept and why is it so popular? Is it something which can be used everywhere while you write code in Java? Or is it something which can only be used in certain specific situations while you code? Well, I'm going to answer all of these questions in detail in just about a couple of moments. Guys, Lambda expression broadly covers these 3 pointers. And out of these 3, the first one is the most important one. It says Lambda expressions give developers an ability to be able to pass a function as a method argument to another function. Now that's kind of a different thought process altogether. Guys, when we write a function in Java, what kind of arguments that function could accept? Well, it could accept built-in data types like int, integer, decimal, float, short, byte, etc., etc. Or it could accept references of objects what you would create in your application. Well, have you ever created a function which would accept another function as an argument to it? Have you ever seen it in Java programming language? Well, never before 1.8 version. But with the addition of Lambda expressions in Java 1.8 and later versions, now actually you could write a function which could accept another function as an argument to it. And that's only because of Lambda expressions addition in Java. Now 2 questions arise here. First one, how to actually be able to do so technically using Java programming language. And second one, in what situations you actually would be needing this concept? Why you would create a function which would accept another function as an argument. And both of these questions we have to talk about in detail in upcoming tutorials in this series. Here, this is just an introductory video on Lambda expressions. I here meant only to, briefly introduce you this concept. Now let's look at the second point. Guys, Lambda expressions cannot be used everywhere. And second important point is wherever you could use Lambda expressions, there you could actually write same kind of a code without using Lambda expressions also. So it's not a compulsion for you to make use of Lambda expression concept. Whatever you could code using Lambda expression, same can be coded even without using Lambda expression in Java programming language. Now, let me talk about an interesting point here. Let's suppose you have written a piece of code using Lambda expression concept and without using Lambda expression concept. So there you would in general observe that whatever you have written using Lambda expression, that code would be much more readable. And also if you look at that piece of code, you would observe that it contains lesser number of lines of code in comparison to the code what you have written without using Lambda expression. So in general, wherever you could use Lambda expression concept, that code is going to be much more readable and is going to contain lesser number of lines of code. And that's one of the prime reasons why in general developers like to make use of Lambda expressions wherever they can. Guys, I'm going to explain in detail about why and how Lambda expressions code is more readable and is containing lesser number of lines of code in upcoming tutorials. But for now, let's move to the third point. Guys, object-oriented is one of the very popular styles in programming. And we have seen it in detail while coding in Java. But the point to note is this is not the only good styles of programming. There exists a lot of other styles too. And functional programming is one of such very popular styles of programming, other than object-oriented programming, which developers like to use while they code. Now, before Java 1.8 version, there was no provision in Java to write code using functional programming style. People used to write code only using object-oriented style. But with the addition of Lambda expressions concept in 1.8 and later versions, now actually you could write code using object-oriented as well as using functional programming style. Now, don't worry about what this style is, all about. We're going to look at it step by step in detail in upcoming tutorials. See you in the next tutorial.